Theo số liệu tổng hợp của Bộ Giáo dục Đào tạo và Bộ Lao động Thương binh và Xã hội trong quý 1 năm 2016, cả nước có đến hơn 200.000 người có trình độ cử nhân, thạc sĩ bị thất nghiệp. Với tình trạng báo động này, dưới góc độ các chuyên gia giáo dục cho thấy, bắt nguồn từ nhiều nguyên nhân, bao gồm quản lý yếu kém, coi nhẹ chất lượng, chạy theo số lượng, sinh viên học đối phó và tình trạng các trường chưa được tự chủ cũng như tự chịu trách nhiệm về tài chính và bộ máy quản lý. Trường Đại học Quốc tế RMIT Việt Nam lại cho thấy một thực tế lạc quan hơn khi hơn 70% sinh viên tốt nghiệp kiếm được việc làm phù hợp. Trong chương trình Câu chuyện kinh doanh kỳ này trên kênh FBNC, chúng tôi sẽ tham khảo chia sẻ của bà Gail McDonald, hiệu trưởng trường RMIT Việt Nam về các chương trình giảng dạy hiện đại cũng như các giải pháp giúp sinh viên trở nên vững vàng hơn trong quá trình tìm kiếm nghề nghiệp tương lai. Mời quý vị cùng theo dõi ngay sau đây.
Xin kính chào quý vị. Tôi xin mời quý vị bắt đầu theo dõi chương trình Câu chuyện kinh doanh số kỳ này. Và thưa quý vị, vị khách mời của chương trình ngày hôm nay là giáo sư Gail McDonald, là chủ tịch của trường Đại học RMIT Việt Nam. Và chủ đề chúng tôi sẽ trao đổi với bà Gail ngay sau đây là tình trạng thất nghiệp của sinh viên cũng như sự kết nối giữa các trường đại học và các doanh nghiệp trong các lĩnh vực ngành nghề của nền kinh tế. Good morning, Ms. Gail. Thank you very much for coming here today and joining our program today. Now we will be talking a lot about the students that cannot find a job after graduating, and statistics show that every year there are about 100,000 of students that graduated from universities but couldn't find a job, and about 40% of them cannot get a job after graduated about 3 months to 6 months. So you must have heard about these numbers a lot. So what are your feelings about these numbers?
Well, I'm just pleased that they don't apply to RMIT Vietnam because our statistics are quite different. Our statistics show that 76% of students are in employment, full-time employment, within 3 to 4 months of graduation. What happens to the rest? Well, about 20% go on to further study, usually to master's programs, and another percentage actually start their own business. And you might ask, well, how confident are you with those figures? How do you know those figures? Well, in Australia, those figures are collected routinely every year. They're collected for all universities as part of what's called a graduate destination survey. And that graduate destination survey will actually collect and then inform back to the universities what they've been doing and how successful they have been with their graduates.
But you've heard about in Vietnam about the numbers of unemployed graduates, which is a huge number there. What do you feel about that?
Well, it's unfortunate because that's a waste of talent. These students have spent a lot of time studying. They're technically very competent, no doubt, but they're just having difficulty with that transition between the academic environment and into the workplace.
Do you think that we lack of the connection between universities and businesses in the industries of the economy?
I think that's probably in some cases that must be the circumstance, which is why the students aren't being able to successfully make that transition. So you might say that it's the fault of universities, but it's not. There are multiple stakeholders in this situation, and universities are only one part of the picture. So clearly there are things that universities can do in order to improve the transferability of students, but there's also things that industry can do as well in order to be able to get closer to universities. So I wouldn't lay the blame solely on the door of universities. There's also another section, or if you like, another stakeholder group, which is a very real one, and that is society, and it's what parents want. And sometimes parents say, I really want you to study X, Y, Z, but they're not necessarily thinking about the future and will there be a job in the future for their child.
Yeah, and whether their children like it or not.
Exactly, and whether they're actually disposed and have the interest. So where is the demand going at the moment? Is there high demand? What areas are high demand? So for example, at the moment there's high demand in the area of digital marketing. Anybody that has got marketing expertise but in a digital environment. So therefore parents should be, if a child is interested in business, what might they be able to do to steer them into the areas where they know there's going to be demand for their particular skill set later on. Entrepreneurship is another area where parents often say, oh, that's not real, you know, that's something you do later on. But in fact, entrepreneurship is a program. It's a program that people can study, and by studying early on, they can actually learn some of those skills that are necessary that will actually help them when they do start their own business.
Well, because I used to study in Australia as well, and I know that because every year in Australia they publish something like a list of jobs in demand, right?
Yes.
So that people would know, and like you said, parents would guide their children, and then based on their interests as well, to study, you know, what that the economy needs, so that it's easier to find a job. So, but do you think that that's the problems that only in Vietnam that we are facing right now, or
no.
it's the same?
It's the
everywhere?
same. It's the same everywhere. Technology is changing so rapidly. Jobs are changing, and so trying to keep up with that. Also knowing what are perhaps the job requirements for the economic conditions. So in Vietnam, for example, it's very much a vibrant and emerging economy, which is attracting a large number of multinational firms. So therefore there are going to be jobs around which are quite unique perhaps to Vietnam. But the issue is very common in a lot of other countries as well.
Yes, and you've also been saying that the technology is changing fast. So in the modern days, the economy would require a lot of skills and a lot of talent. So is that just these days that we must have a connection between universities and industries, or it's been a hot issue ever since?
I think it's becoming more common now to have that interface between universities and industry. Perhaps less so years and years ago when I was at university, but definitely now, and definitely for the last decade.
A bit about yourself, because all the time you have been in the education environments, including in Australia, in New Zealand, and in UK. So what are the things that we can learn from those countries about the connection between university and industry?
Well, there's a number of strategies that you can use in order to be able to enhance the connection between industry and universities. The first and obvious one is actually inviting industry into what you're doing. So it's to do with looking at the content of the curriculum and making sure that what you're teaching within the curriculum is very much aligned with what is happening in the industries that you happen to be serving. So for example, there's new technology, there's new software. Do you actually have that software? And what's the connection? So the next thing that you can do is obviously invite industry to be as part of the teaching. So having maybe part-time teachers that are appropriately qualified but are coming from industry. So not all your staffing is full-time academics, the true blue sort of academics, that you're actually supplementing them with guest lectures from industry, but also sometimes part-time lecturers that are coming from industry. Once again, they need to be appropriately qualified and appropriately trained as well. The next thing that you can look at when you're trying to get that interface strengthened is what we teach students outside of their curriculum to prepare them for work. So what sort of additional skills, and we call those often soft skills or 21st century skills, what skills can you actually provide so that when students get into the work environment, when they lose the nice soft support of the university environment in the classroom, that they're prepared for that. What we also do, and is another part of the strategy of organisations to get the interface, is to invite industry onto campus for career days, so that they can then come in and showcase their company. Vietnam Airlines is very good at that. They come onto our campus because they're obviously looking for well-trained graduates with good English speaking ability. Then what we do is we also make sure that we've got the opportunity for students to be trained in the workplace. So for example, we have internship programs, and we've recently redesigned our internship program, and we call it the flagship internship program because we went all around the world to find out what was best practice around the world. And then we took all these great ideas and we rebuilt our internship program. And the statistic is very, very interesting here. If you go on an internship, you have an 80% chance of being hired by the company that you interned with. Because for companies, it's very much a try before you buy situation. So the internships are able to give students just that exposure that they need.
Well, that's interesting, and from what you've said, there are a lot of interactions between, in the case of RMIT, that you have a lot of interactions with industries. So we would like to take a short break here, and we would want to hear more about the experience that you have to solve the problem of unemployment. Thank you very much, Ms. Gail.
My pleasure.
Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi vẫn đang trò chuyện với giáo sư Gail McDonald, là chủ tịch của trường đại học RMIT Việt Nam, và chúng tôi sẽ quay trở lại với chương trình sau ít phút giải lao.